Welcome to the Greater Arlington Chamber of Commerce. It's time for another member spotlight. Today we have a special member because a lot of people don't realize that we have nonprofit groups that are members of the Chamber, and this particular group is at our CLC, our Corporate Leadership Council level as a nonprofit. The group we're talking with today, of course, is River Legacy Nature Center. We have not one but two guests. I'm going to introduce Becky Nussbaum-Giroux first because I want to say hi to you. Hi, Becky.
Hey there, Brian. Thanks for having us.
Well, thank you for being here. You know, I appreciate it. It's always so fun to run into you out and about in public, but to have you here at Sargent Studios to help share the story today is extra special. So thank you for taking time.
And I wanted to thank you for encouraging us to go up to the CLC level. It's really brought a lot of value to our organization, and we're very pleased with that decision. So thank you for that.
Kudos to both of us. How about that? So for people who don't know, I'm going to do a little background history real quick. We're going to get to our other guests here in just a second. But what is your official title? What do you do out there? Because everybody knows you as River Legacy, but there's got to be a specific something.
Yes. Well, it's not on my name tag, but I am the Director of Development. Develop meaning I raise money for River Legacy. And with us being a nonprofit, I think that gives me some job security.
A little bit, because you're always going to need that. Well, let me go a little further, because I mentioned we do have another guest today, and she's relatively new with River Legacy, absolutely new to being involved here with the Chamber, and I think it's only proper that you get to introduce her to everybody.
Thank you. My pleasure. I want everybody to meet our friend and our colleague, Cheryl Mathis. Cheryl is our event manager, and at a nonprofit, events are a very important part of what we do. She is really just moving into this position beautifully and bringing in some fun new things for all of our longtime events.
Well, Cheryl, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Let's talk about your background real quick.
Absolutely.
You're new to River Legacy. Are you new to the nonprofit world too?
I am, unless you count higher education as a tax-free, tax-exempt establishment, then that's my experience. But I'm glad to be here, glad to be learning, and glad to be growing along with their mission.
Well, I know they're glad to have you, so welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. So she mentioned the word mission. Nice segue. Thank you. I appreciate that. For people who don't know, and I do know, don't make me quote it, but I do know it.
You do know.
What is the mission of River Legacy? What do you guys want to bring to the table?
Well, I think our official mission is that we want to preserve and enhance the land along the Trinity and its tributaries as a beautiful natural resource for our community. And we want to grow that legacy. We want to make a space that people can enjoy for generations to come. The unofficial way that I like to say it is that at River Legacy Nature Center, we help people fall in love with nature.
It's easy to do. I've been out there before, and the first thing as a guy, we've talked before, I grew up here in Arlington, but the first time I went out there, even all the times I've driven by and stuff, I had no idea exactly how big that place is. How big are you?
Well, our park started at 376 acres as a gift to the city, and it had to be open to the public, and it had to be used for education. And the foundation was formed 35 years ago, and we have added land as our first real priority. Then we raised money to add amenities to the park, and then we gift those to the city. And then we started programming, and now we've gotten to have a park that's 1,300 acres.
Wait. 1,300 acres.
1,300 acres. It's designed to be border to border along the Trinity River in Arlington. And there are about 12 cities that have agreed to make a green space, the Trinity Trails, so that we can go back and forth between Dallas and Fort Worth without ever having to get on the highway. You could walk, run, bike, canoe, kayak, but Arlington is the first city of all of those that's achieved that, and they've achieved it through a beautiful public-private partnership with the City of Arlington and River Legacy Foundation.
This is outstanding, and sure, I got to ask you, I know you're relatively new, but have you been able to walk all 1,300 acres yet?
I'm at about 12.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Well ahead of me, and I've known about it longer than you. So we mentioned the word nonprofit, at the start of our segment today. You are a nonprofit, but that doesn't mean you don't need money. Actually, it means you mean a lot of money from a variety of sources. So walk me through that process. We're going to get specifically to events in a minute, but are there other ways that you're funded outside of events too?
Yes, Brian. We found that the people in Arlington and North Texas are a very, very community-minded, very generous group. And so a lot of our funding comes from donations from individuals. We also have donations and grants from foundations in the area and across the country with certain kinds of specific goals. Like we've been able to work with U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and we've been able to do some green spaces outside of the park to increase the knowledge and people falling in love with nature. We work with the city parks department primarily, but all of the city is wonderful to us. We're always looking for volunteers and donors who want to get involved and help us reach the next generation of environmental stewards. I'm going to take a minute to brag, if you don't mind.
Please.
Okay, well, as I said, we've had 35 years of the foundation. We started doing our school groups, our nature hike, that kind of thing right away, and counting all of those. Then we built the building. Now we're up to about 15,000 school kids every year. Wow. And for many of them, it's their first walk in the woods. And if you want to really feel good about what you're doing, come out there and listen to their comments.
They've got to be floored.
They're so amazed.
Well, okay, so in 35 years, and I know I hadn't been at that level for 35 years, but have you reached the point to where there's grown-ups now who were kids at the time, first fell in love with nature there, and now are they involved? Do you know, Joe, are they involved as volunteers or hopefully donors?
Oh, for sure. We have generations of persons and families who are not only volunteers, but who give back and support specifically the events, but also with the nature school and all of the activities that go on, because they loved the benefit and what they learned, that they want to pass that on to that next generation, like Becky said.
Wow, that's it. It's working.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I have a quick story.
Sure.
When I came back to River Legacy this time in development, because my first time I was a teacher.
Okay.
When I came back as a development person, I was standing in the atrium, and this mom was just almost levitating off the floor. She was so excited, and I said, "May I help you?" And she said, "Oh, I'm looking for the 4th grade class that's coming today." And I said, "Well, let me show you where." She had her badge from the school, so I knew she was okay to go. So I said, "Let me show you where the buses are." And as we walked out to greet her child, she said that her mom was so afraid of snakes and spiders that she wasn't going to let her come when this lady was in 4th grade. And somebody talked her mom into it, and she got to come. And she said, "I knew that when I registered my child for kindergarten, I wanted to be on this field trip because I want water to be brave."
We've gone full circle.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that's a really, really cool. And who knows what's going to happen when the daughter's daughter grows. I mean, this could just keep going and going and going. All right, I got to get into events.
Okay.
You have all sorts of events going on out there, and this might be your time to shine here. I mean, you haven't worked all the events yet. I'm certainly positive that you've been told about them somewhat, but you do everything from clay shoes to golf tournaments. I mean, what are you looking forward to? What's coming up?
What's coming up next is our golf tournament, our charity classic. And so we're excited to welcome a bunch of our donors, kind of some that are loyal to us and returning, some that are brand new. So thank you to all of you who are new. And then that's a great time for them to not only network within each other, like more community building, like Becky said, but also for them to bring their new colleagues to learn about us and who we are, and hopefully, again, growing that network of nature lovers to give back and participate and go back out into nature. That's what we like to make sure in all of our events, is that there is a nature component in everything. Our event that's coming up in October is our Fall Festival, located on the grounds of the Nature Center. And so when guests and all of their families will come to the event, they'll have to walk through our urban forest to get to all the fun things like a bounce house and the food and all of the other free activities. So we want them to be introduced to nature in very different ways. So like Becky mentioned, anybody can see that it's accessible to them, that they can get any component of nature, even if they don't like the bugs. That's okay. you can get to bounce on a bounce house in nature. It's going to be really cool.
Well, and the thing too is anytime you can bring people there, they're going to be like me. All those years I drove back and forth and back and forth, and not until the first time I stepped on the grounds did I realize exactly what everything is. I mean, what a great opportunity. And I want to back up, speaking as a golfer or a wannabe golfer myself. Unfortunately, I have a lot of experience with nature. I just assume forget, because when I golf, I'm on places I don't need to be.
You were in the nature.
But I am in the nature, in the trees, in the water, in the bushes, whatever it may take. But the golf tournament is an exciting opportunity. But I know you have another one, I think it's springtime, the clay shoot. Talk to me about the clay shoot. A lot of people never heard of that term.
Right. That one's a unique one for us, and we're very thankful for the opportunity to provide that to people as another different way for people to get outside, get involved. If you like going outside and getting your hands on what it means to be outside on a clay shoot field, if you like the tournament style, if you like experiencing that team bonding, that networking, again, that happens.
Little smack talk.
A little bit. It is very competitive. I learned that this first one in May, everyone who participates is very focused on winning.
I think overall, though, and I'm not joking about this, the overall thing is everybody's out there, they're competitive, they're smack talking, whatever, but they're out there for one main reason, and that main reason is to raise money for River Legacy, a place that we all love. And I guarantee you, because I'm familiar with the clay shoot, there's people that come to the clay shoot because they like to go to the clay shoots, but once they start learning about what we raise the money for, where is this? What is it? I've got kids. Why aren't I there?
Yep.
Isn't it just a great exposure to bring even more people? And then they say, well, we need to raise more money. I mean, it's got to just play off of itself.
It is, and people who participate in a clay shoot or the golf tournament, they love being outdoors. That's what they love. And once they realize that they have an opportunity to open that beautiful experience to children, to people who are underserved in our community, who maybe don't have the chance to play golf or to participate in a clay shoot, but they can come to the nature center and they can learn about nature, become comfortable with it, and start to reap those benefits. They're on board. And that's what we want all of you to help us with, because we need cheerleaders. We don't want to be the best kept secret in all of
No.
We want people to know that this is your nature center. It's your nature center. It's really your backyard. And, being out in nature is just good for you. I mean, if I could sell you a pill that would reduce anxiety, increase your focus if you have ADHD.
Yeah.
It would reduce childhood obesity. It can help with childhood depression. It can help with the children who are having these gaps and social anxiety going back to school. I mean, being in nature does all of that. Mm-hmm. For us, I believe we are intrinsically born with a need to be outside. And to feel that, if I could sell you that pill, I think most people would buy that. Well, I can.
Yeah.
It's coming to the nature center and supporting us so that we can help people who maybe don't have that opportunity.
It's interesting, too, in that it's not like you're watching the same movie over and over and over. Every time you go out there, there's something new going on. Talk about the visiting exhibits. You have exhibits that are permanent, but then you have visiting exhibits. Those are so cool. Can you go into that a little?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Mid-November through mid-February every year, since we did our big renovation, we've been able to transform the space by having a visiting exhibit. Now, it has to fit our theme, it has to fit our mission, and it has to fit our space. And so we book these way in advance, and I can tell you that the one that's coming is fabulous. It's called Forever Forest.
Perfect. Okay, perfect. Yeah.
And so it's about how we live and work and play in the forest. Kids are going to be able to come and climb a tree,
right,
and be up in the treetop and look down on our forest that we have inside.
Right.
So I'm probably not going to be able to climb up there, but there's plenty of things for me to do too. On the ground. So it teaches us about selective harvesting so that we can use the wood of the forest, but also maintain the forest. There's going to be a skid mover where you can actually pick up logs. This is child size, unfortunately, but I'm still going to do it.
Okay.
Pick up logs and put them on a train
Okay.
and learn how we actually move logs and turn them into wood. And then there's going to be a house that you can finish building. And then that's just
This sounds fantastic.
And then, of course, the life cycle of the trees. When we have a tree that's cut down, thinking about what that story is. Everybody knows about the rings of the tree, tell how many years. But actually, the rings tell more than that. They tell a story of, was there a drought? Was there a fire? Was there sufficient rain? Was there a flood? Was there an incident on the outside of the tree before it became the inside of the tree? Scars and how trees heal. And of course, we have a permanent exhibit about the xylem and the phloem, about how water and nutrients go from the ground up into the leaves and back down. I mean, I'm so excited. We're also going to be talking about the animals that use the forest as their home. So, I mean, it's a really, really rich, active visiting exhibit just to keep everything fresh. And then, as always, we are encouraging people to go outside so that they can learn something in our permanent exhibit or in our visiting exhibit, and then go explore that
And see it for themselves.
in our post-oak forest.
Well, and I wanted to make that point to everybody that if you've been to River Legacy before, that's great. We'd love for you to go all the time. But sometimes they're a little more special than others. It's always special to go. But when something like this comes through, I mean, how do you do that? Do you have to go get sponsors? I mean, what do I pay to go to this? What's the story there?
As our regular exhibit and our visiting exhibit, there is a small charge for the part that's in the discovery room. What's in the atrium is always free to all of our guests. But what's in the discovery room is a small charge. And the way that we keep that small charge is by having sponsors help us with that. So what we do is we look for people who their companies have environmental initiatives or they're very community-minded. We have folks who want to give back, and this is a great way to do that. We're really excited because every year we try to add something. And this year, one of the things that we're adding is called Healthy Family Nights. So we'll have the visiting exhibit there for 3 months, one night each month as our pilot program. We're going to invite kids and their families from an underserved group to come in. We'll be inviting other nonprofits in as well so that the parents can have a kind of relaxed conversation about services that are available while the kids have an opportunity to learn about the forest. River Legacy Foundation will be giving them tickets for the whole family to come back when we have our regular permanent exhibits up. But we want people to understand this is your nature center, and we want to help people really be able to enjoy it.
So I've been to River Legacy more than once, and the thing that's really cool to me is not only are there animals outdoors in the forest and everything that you have an opportunity to see, there's animals indoors too. But I noticed today in the studio, it looked like you were coming in. Did you bring animals with you as well?
As a matter of fact,
Nice.
we did.
Oh, hello there. What do we have?
Well, this is Digger. And I know you've seen Digger before.
I have.
About 5
Whoa.
years ago, Digger was the size of a silver dollar when Digger was brought into us. And I don't think I have to tell you this because I know you're such an animal expert.
Obviously.
But Digger is a box turtle. And box
There he
turtles
goes.
actually have a hinge on the bottom of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so if Digger were so inclined, he could go all the way in.
Okay.
She could. So here's the thing. Digger is a box turtle, and the name Digger and these claws probably give you an idea of where she might like to live.
She's not living underwater.
Right, right. But a quick way for people to know if they don't really want to get up close and see if they're a box turtle.
Right.
One of the things we like to talk about at River Legacy is if you see a turtle crossing the road, and this isn't a joke, but I know
Okay.
you know one, Brian.
All right. Think of one.
If you see a turtle crossing the road, some people will pick the turtle up and
Rescue it and put it on the other side of the road.
rescue it
That
and
would be me.
put it That's
Don't-
great.
Don't do that?
Don't put it in a pond
No.
because it would be like a great big giant picking you up and putting you in the ocean. You can swim, but that's not where you live, and that would not be the best place for you.
Okay.
Turtles have a really good GPS. So if they're going in a direction, they're going to go in that direction for a reason.
Okay.
They aren't like me and forget why they came into a room.
Mhm.
So if you see a turtle and it's safe for you to help them, take them all the way across the street, out of traffic, on the other side, whatever direction they're going.
Okay.
Because if you put them back on the closest side that's behind
Start
them,
all over.
they'll start all over.
Right.
So, and then also you can tell if they're a water turtle or a land turtle because of the shape of their shell.
Hmm.
And so if you were in the water and needed to climb out of the water, would you want to climb out on a curved surface or on a flat
No, I don't want
surface?
to be on a flat surface.
Okay, so water turtles are going to have flatter shells,
Ah,
and land turtles are going to have
rounders.
a rounder top
Just
shell.
like Digger.
That's right. That's
Digger,
right.
good to see you.
Isn't Digger beautiful?
Digger is beautiful, but Digger didn't come in the studio alone.
No.
Do we have anything else? Another Digger, another box turtle. That would be great.
Well, Digger's a reptile, and
Okay.
Digger brought a reptile friend.
Ah,
One of your favorites, I know.
okay.
Wink, wink.
Oh, my old
Nudge,
buddy.
nudge. Your old buddy.
It's
Look at the beautiful underside. Do you
It's-
remember who this is?
that's Spook.
This is Spook.
It's Halloween color. That's how I remember
right.
his name.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the kid's named Spooky, this color, because of her underneath side. And you can feel, Brian,
I sure could.
how different her scales are on the top and then these on the bottom.
So what type of reptile is she?
She is a western hognose snake.
Mm-hmm.
And like all reptiles, she has scales all over her body. But snakes have scales on their eyelids.
Well, that's impressive.
Yeah, so when she sheds or molts out of her skin, grows out of this skin, her eyelid has clear scales on it.
Mhm.
So all the scales can be different.
Okay.
Yeah,
Depending on
so
where they are.
depending on where they are and what their function is. She's a hognose snake because can you see that beautiful snout of hers right there?
I'm quite familiar with a snout like that.
That's right. So she's called hognose, but really I think spade nose would be a better. She really is a
She
great
can dig.
digger. So she gets right under the ground. Now
That's
I will.
why she gets along so well with Digger.
That's right. And Digger is also covered in scales, and the scales that make up the shell
Shell.
are called scutes.
Okay.
And each scute is like a thumbprint. It's unique
Oh, no, to
to
alike.
each turtle.
Like a snowflake.
Yeah, all of these scales are unique to her.
Well, both of these are just two of the many critters that are out there inside and out that people can see on a daily basis, or certainly when they come in for exhibits or the events that you hold on site. But I want to go back to you for a second, if I could, on the events. These things don't just happen. I mean, you've got to have sponsors and stuff. Are there multiple opportunities for people you don't have like one sponsor per event. You can have several, correct?
Correct. We have a plethora of options for people to give in support of the event. That in turn helps make us money for all of our programs, including our animal ambassadors. And so whatever someone wants to support us with, whether that be from an in-kind donation for an experience one of our participants can maybe win as a prize, all the way up to sponsoring a little portion of it, all the way up to the event as of itself. That's great. We're happy to welcome anybody who wants to give anything. We will, as Becky says, we will never turn away anyone who wants to help support us in our mission.
Find a place for their support.
We'll find a place.
and use it the best way you can. And I also know, and I got to mention this, and we're about out of time, but I do need to mention, I know North Texas Giving Day is a big thing for what you guys do. What's the date this year?
September 21st.
And why is that so important? It double your investment, right?
Well, we have a $35,000 match this
Oh,
year
my.
for our 35th anniversary.
Okay.
Pretty exciting.
very exciting.
And our goal is $75,000 for this year because we have such grand plans. We need to have some money set aside so that we can book our visiting exhibits in a year and maybe 2 years out. So we're looking for a really strong showing this year. We always look for volunteers and donors, people who want to be part of what we're doing at River Legacy.
Okay, well, that's a great way to do it. And again, folks, in case you didn't pick up on it, yes, we're always needing sponsors, but we're always needing volunteers too. So check them out, River Legacy. They're a great place to be here, right here in Arlington, Texas, and they're great members of the community and members of the chamber. You're both very busy. I appreciate you coming in the studio today. We're out of time, so I'm going to wrap it up. But I want to thank all four of you for being here today, Digger. You as well. But you too. Thank you, not just for being here today, but thank you for everything you do for kids of all ages, for generations to come. So appreciate it and welcome aboard. We look forward to seeing you at events soon.
Thank you.
All right,
Brian.
folks. There you go. That's our member spotlight for today. That's River Legacy and all that entails. Give these guys a shout if you can help them out with events, or if you just want to have a really good time. They're a great place to go. Thank you for being here. And as always, remember, together we succeed. Take care.